Good afternoon and welcome to another live online event from NextView and Salesforce. We're going to talk about Financial Services Cloud today, and I'm excited to have a great lineup of speakers today. On my right hand, we have Sander Daniels, Head of Financial Services at Salesforce. Welcome.
Thank you,
Thanks for joining us. On my left hand, we have Geraldine Hoogwerf, Product Owner Customer Centric at VVAA. Welcome.
Okay.
And last but not least, we have Nicolai Kiepe, Industry Lead Financial Services at NextView. Welcome, Nicolai.
Thank you, Lars.
So, if you're a regular to our program, you know that we'd like to make these sessions as interactive as possible. You can do that by putting your question into the box on the right side of your screen. So if you have any questions for our panelists, please put your question in there. The question will end up on my iPad here, and I'll make sure that I'll refer it to the right panelist. Yeah? Having said that, let's start with the first topic of today, Financial Services Cloud. And Sander, I mean, as the head of Financial Services at Salesforce, you must speak to many clients on a daily basis. What are you seeing out there in the market?
A lot of change, and we're right in the middle of the new normal, if you like. So companies are adjusting. We've seen already quite a lot of fintechs entering the market over the last few years. Example in the Netherlands would be ABN AMRO, who launched a couple of years ago New 10, the digital commercial bank. It's all about the customer, of course. It's about the customer experience. The customer expects more and more. Just the other day, ING Bank announced that they're selling loans through Amazon. There's a lot of change. Right. And against this backdrop, there's also a lot of regulation and compliance. So companies are trying to balance their investments, and then you see that KYC and CRM are also very much being merged at the moment. So why not reuse all the knowledge you have from prospecting with know your clients and your customer onboarding? So that's sort of summarized a little bit here on the screen. Now, in Financial Services Cloud, a solution that Salesforce launched early 2016, we very much focused initially on the household model or the relationship model. The relationship model brings together a view of the B2C side, the household of a customer, and the B2B side, the business side. Now, particularly in businesses where there is a crossover, think of banking with commercial banking, where entrepreneurs, of course, have a family, but then at the same time may have multiple businesses. All of that will be brought together in one overview with a direct link to core systems of record. Now, from a simple architecture, you will have something like a channel architecture at the front. You'll have your CRM layer, where we very much believe in a common data layer, where everything is connected through our cloud technology, and you can then both serve your customers directly and your employees. And one of the big changes I've seen in my 4 years at Salesforce is Salesforce going much deeper into a direct connectivity to core systems of record. We bought, among others, MuleSoft, a $6 billion acquisition in this space. And that means we can really bring the insights from those systems of record into Salesforce and engage much better with the end clients. Now, when you look at a sort of an architectural overview, Salesforce includes always Sales and Service Cloud, our core clouds that many of our customers will have today. Now, on top of that, Financial Service Cloud benefits from over 100 developers that work day and night on banking and insurance innovation. Every 4 months, there's a new release packed with lots of features. Now, some of the examples you see here on the screen in, let's say, the purple, it includes data models that are sector specific, banking, lending, insurance, wealth, and that has really made a big change. Customers of ours are using those data models to connect directly to their core systems of record, bringing the data into our solution, not all data, but some, having a true customer truth profile, really understanding all policies that a customer may, for example, have from an insurance perspective. And then also connecting those to some of the items you see here in the square boxes. So, for example, we have a whole live events module where you can track customer live events like buying a house, having a first child, but also business milestones like a company acquisition or international expansion. Now let me take one other example. You see here document tracking. We've released a module that is linked to our BPM capability. We call it action plans. Those action plans are, let's say, a series of processes, and with the document capabilities, you now include in every process the exact documentation requirements, for example, for KYC on onboarding, and you now have the ability to have much improved communication with the end customer, and also internally have an audit trail, who approved what, where, when. So all of that wraps one solution that is sort of an overarching solution for financial services, and that's Financial Services Cloud. Now, when you look at building trusted relationships, it's very important that you understand the customer, of course, and we see our clients talking more and more into financial life goals of the end client, but also looking at white space analytics, where do we have cross-upsell opportunities, taking into account the context in which customers interact with us as a firm.
Yeah. I think you're saying it on the screen, right? It's put the customer at the center, not the product.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. And you also then need some sort of capability in your organization that can truly connect sales, service, and marketing. We're really aware that there's more companies out there than Salesforce that offer capabilities. I'd say there are very few that can truly say they connect sales, service, and marketing on one platform. Now maybe we'll look at an example in a minute with BBVA, and I've got a quick introduction to that. We spoke about understanding customer journeys. We see a big trend that companies want to understand those journeys in real time. You might call it conversational banking or conversational insurance. And while every customer of ours has some sort of marketing capability, it often is quite an outbound marketing, messaging. Now you want to understand the context of those customer interactions in real time so that you can seamlessly hand over from the website to a chatbot to the contact center, and that the conversation is seamless and a real dialogue. Now let's look at what BBVA has done in this respect, and yeah.
Today we are in an age of opportunity, mostly because of technology. BBVA's purpose is to bring the age of opportunity.
The first is that all the decisions that we make is around the customer. The second one is the ambition that we have. And the third one is that we have to work as a team.
That means that we enable our customers to reach their life goals and live the life they want to live. Financial services are undergoing a massive change, starting with the way customers interact with the bank.
One of our objectives is to unify the client experience. That means across products, across channels, and across geographies. Salesforce is a tremendous catalyst for innovation, which is critical for our business.
We're transforming our technology stack, moving it to the cloud, and also incorporating in that platform the best of breed of solutions.
One of our goals is to see the customer as a whole. The customer at this moment in time wants convenience. Marketing Cloud with Salesforce, what we are trying to put is all the data together.
To derive actionable insights that can help our customers make better decisions for their life, for their business, without needing to come to a branch.
That is why we have more than 90% of the services through the app. We think big, we put the customer at the center of all the decisions we make in order to improve their lives. In the day-to-day and also in the important decisions, BBVA for sure is part of the family.
Beyond that, the trust that customers have in BBVA, partnering with third parties like Salesforce. We can have access to creating opportunities, providing peace of mind, helping our customers make better decisions. We aspire to help them fulfill their life goals.
Yeah. So before we move on, a quick one. So if you have any questions so far, feel free to ask them in the screen. They'll show up here, and I'll make sure that I'll relay them to the right panelists. So sorry, it's back to you.
Absolutely. One last comment on BBVA. What you've seen is the CEO and his team really talking about what they achieved with Salesforce and with their strategy of connecting directly to those customer live events and being able to, let's say, be part of the family, as you heard. I think what marks out BBVA for us is the ability to truly integrate sales, service, and marketing across human and digital channels. Now, if we then have a last look at sort of the reason why our customers decide on Financial Services Cloud in the first place. Let's say Financial Services Cloud represents the blue line here, plotted versus, let's say, a competitive offering in the red. One of the key things is that out of the box, Financial Services Cloud has benefited from 5 years of development specifically for banking and insurance. That includes the data models we spoke about, these live events, the document tracking, all these processes and flows that are specific to banking and insurance. So it really means a fast start. It means, let's say, going live in 4 or 5 months with a very credible MVP, rather than maybe spending 1.5 years before you've got something that could really drive adoption. But it also means that through the life cycle of the deployment, not only do you reach much higher business value, but also after a couple of years, people might be a little bit tired of what was implemented 4 years ago. With Financial Service Clouds, tons of new features come out every 4 months. So you keep a very current environment that drives high adoption and ultimately value.
Yeah. So we have a question from the audience. How old is Financial Services Cloud now?
Yeah, it's 14 releases, and that brings us back to
that's
early,
a lot of innovation, right there.
That's a lot of innovation. I know the more humble beginnings when we might have had like 15 developers, and right now that's well over 100. So that's very significant. And we started early 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. So we've seen a lot of functionality. Can you tell us a little bit about what's on the roadmap? Because that's probably what everybody wants to know.
Okay, roadmap. Now, roadmap, we're publicly quoted company, so I can only say this much. But it's no surprise, or it's of course public knowledge, that we acquired Velocity, $1.3 billion acquisition. Velocity, a very large partner in the past to Salesforce, and very much known for their innovations in industry-specific solutions. What we very much like about Velocity is, of course, everything they built already was built on Salesforce, so it's an easy integration. But above all, they had a very mature process layer. Now, one of the things you'll see in the next 12 months is that we bring a lot of these very advanced processing capabilities into Financial Service Clouds. For example, we'll innovate a lot in terms of KYC and onboarding. You'll see a lot of out-of-the-box capability on FSC in that respect. And for example, Velocity will bring tons of expertise in the insurance space with claims handling and even policy administration capability. So we'll go much deeper and broader into FinServ is one outcome.
Very good. We have another question from the audience. Do you have any best practices that you can share from the...
Yeah, of course. I'll take the question as best practices in terms of adoption. So when you, as a customer, invest in Financial Service Cloud, you choose the solution because it's an accelerator, because you have a much quicker time to market and much improved ROI, value on your investment. One good learning would be stick to what it offers. It offers a very rich data model, for example, for insurance, completely based on the International Accord standard. If you now would feel the urge to customize all these objects again, well, then you would take a lot of value away. So we see the most successful customers are customers that are driving innovation by having a buy rather than build mindset.
Yep.
You'll still need a system integrator, of course, to help you with this, and a good team and a center of excellence. But you can do this really with a very small number of experts rather than an army of people that keeps on developing year in, year out.
Yeah, and so essentially what you're saying is that the standard is the best practice.
The standard is the best practice. Yeah, well said. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for that. I'd like to move forward to one of our clients who has started their Salesforce journey by putting the customer first. Geraldine, as a product owner of Customer Centric. I think the audience would love to hear from you and you know what you've gone through in the past year. Before you do that, maybe it's good to do a quick introduction of VVA.
VVA. Yeah, of course. Well, we are a collective of more than 120,000 healthcare providers, and we do that to be the integral service provider for them. You can think about to give them advice, to support them, to deliver service about financial, legal, business questions or challenges they have. Also, we have several non-life insurance products, but also we are, well, so as we say, the voice of them, for them, for instance, in Den Haag, for more general topics, for instance, free choice of a doctor, so to make sure that they can really practice their profession. So that is VVAA.
And it's a member organization, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And well, now my role as product owner is just already for 4 months. So everything what I will tell now is also what ambassadors or what the consultants has tell us. And if you see, we have started in 2018 with Salesforce. We made the choice to implement Salesforce, and well, NextView helped us with that. And in May 2019, we had a go live for that. And what we want to achieve was a more demand, data-driven organization, which make it possible to improve our services and also the processes for the customers' main role. Well, we started then in May 2019, we get alive, and that was really a big achievement. Why? A big achievement on technical area, but also at business area. At first, the technical area. If you see that we have implemented the Salesforce Service Cloud, Salesforce Sales Cloud and Marketing Cloud at once, and also our new platform, new call center platform, Vonage. Well, most of you will know it as New Voice Media, perhaps. And the diversity of the platforms we have implemented, as well as the diversity of our own services, and the processes which combine with the services. Well, that's really a big achievement for that. Well, I can show you a few impressive results. For instance, we have now really one customer view. There's only one truth at VVA.
And that's a big thing, right? I mean, that's what everybody's trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's a big thing, and especially also because we have individuals, we have entrepreneurs, we have a diversity also of roles. What you just mentioned at financial service. So yeah, that's a big achievement. Also, we have a direct recognition of our customer. That's because we have also implemented Vonage. We have better insights to the contacts, to the cases we have, to the products they have, but also in the history. It's possible to be more efficient if you see the handling of the customer contacts, but also to accelerate our sales engine. Well, where we are really proud of, and I wasn't there when it got alive, but that's really a big achievement, is the next best action. If you see that the customer, almost demand that we are more proactive. If you want to have a real relation with your customer, then to be proactive is actually the base they want. Not only, you don't have only a relationship with them if they contact us, but especially when we are contact them. And another thing is the data quality. We have now really one truth, so we are more in control of that. We have also built in more controls and also more definitions about it. This whole platform makes it also possible to think now, or to start with a more transition to a more omni-channel, because we have one customer view, and it doesn't matter which channel a customer contact us. But this is really a big, that's the first step to more digital also. Very good news, everything, but if you see, also the customer and the advisors, the consultants are really happy. I have here a few notes from that. They give me this input. But the main thing where I'm proud of is the Net Promoter Score. That is 39 plus. For a financial, is that really very high?
Yes.
Yeah. And also, if you see the voiceover of that, the customer give us is they find us very friendly. We are proactive. We empathize with the customer, and we have also focused for more solution. And that is everything makes that possible because we are more insecure about what we know about customer. So you can be more empathized and you can be more proactive, or you can think in solutions because everything is in one screen.
That's a very powerful statement. Yeah.
Yeah. And some major advances also because we have the customer central. We really want to be our advisors also be more case owner. They are really feel responsible for the case or for the question from the customer. So, for instance, the customer only has story once. Everything what we see because of the insights and every advisor and manager has the possibility to make his own dashboard. So we have great insights also to coach our advisors more to be a case owner. The dashboard provides more insights into the process, the work stock, the case resolution time, first time right, etc. That's very nice because as a team and also as an individual, we can learn constantly because of that.
Yeah.
Very nice
it's really impressive, and I especially like the first one you mentioned. The customer only does his story once, because it made me think about a couple of days ago when I was in touch with an organization. I'm not going to name names, but I've had to do the same story 3 times over, and that is so frustrating. So I can imagine that this really helps in your Net Promoter Score and the average well-being of your members. Yeah.
Well, also because of at the start of the implementation and actually the go live, the management was also very clear. Everybody works with Salesforce. There's only one truth, and if it isn't in Salesforce, then it don't exist. Actually.
Yeah, that's what we always say as well.
If I look at the results, it also feels to me that you're empowering your employees to make the difference for their customers, because you have the 365-degree view of the customer.
Yeah.
That's something really powerful. Are there any examples that you've heard in the last, few months that you said, well, this is why we do it?
Well, we do it, of course, because we want to have a constantly improvement circle. We want to learn from our customer for actually the customer, and the only thing to do that is to use the insights and the data at Salesforce. So that's for sure, and it's very. These are really nice topics, very positive, of course. But it's the base, so really we have a lot of room for improvement. If you see, it's also a new way of working, so we have also advisors who say, okay, the old life was much better, but that's normal because that's the change, and that's okay. I think when you see that's what's in it for you, so what's in it for the customer, what's in it for you, what's in it for also VVA, well, let's get more empowered.
Yeah.
For instance, for the next steps, what we will do is, or the roadmap, is to have our household in order. If you see, the base is okay, but to achieve more at the operational excellence topics, it's really important to have the integration with our back office systems, for instance, and also to have more focus to more digitalization at the operational excellence, but also for the more omni-channel way of working. And that all, because if the household is okay, then we can start also to accelerate our sales engine, because that's also very important for us. Well, at the end, we want actually just the most happy customer, at the strongest collective, we are, so.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Something about digital engagement. You want to improve your customer processes or experiences through digital engagements. Can you give me an example of what you think to do or what you are doing for that?
Well, I think it's the combination. It's the combination of really listen to the customer with the Net Promoter Score. And I know that the customers has to give a lot of opinions about every service and contact they have, but I think that's really very important. In a combination of also to design more or to work more with customer journeys, and also in the combination of our operational excellence processes. So it's, I think it's really a combination. For instance, if we want to have more digitalization, and also what you see is our customers want to have more sitting at the steering wheel, to more self-service, to be more in control. And that could be, we have now a proof of concept with our community cloud. And we are still learning with that. But I think that's, one of the possibilities for the customer to be more in control. And we have the insights, but it would be nice if they have also the right insights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the questions from the audience.
Okay.
And we had one come in a little while ago already, and I think I'm going to ask it to you because it's about Financial Services Cloud. Does this sit seamlessly over existing Sales Cloud, or does an organization need to implement brand new licenses for Financial Services Cloud and need to port data?
Both is possible, and now you get to the question of migration. Migration can mean two things here. When we've seen customers that were at an early stage of implementing Service Cloud, for example, maybe let's say ABN AMRO Verzekeringen here in the Netherlands, for example, they were able to just replace what they had with Financial Service Cloud, and they were a minimum number of processes to redo. That could be weeks, and you're done. Now, if you would take an organization, let's not take any names, but that has invested 5 years and heavily customized Sales and Service Cloud, Now it's a much bigger question. And it's not because it's not based on Sales or Service Cloud, it's all Salesforce. That's not the problem. It's over the years, these organizations will have created tons of custom objects, embedded those in processes, and now they have to unravel those because they're going to use a standard data model designed for banking and insurance. So somewhere you have to take a little bit of pain. There could be a small pain or a larger pain, and that's where an organization like NextView could really make the difference to do the assessment.
Maybe I can add to that a little bit from my personal experience of having worked at these large financial institutions. There's always a data transfer. There's always a migration that you need to do. And there's always, well, as I say, less nice things to do. But the one thing that I saw with Financial Services Cloud is the power of the data model and what you can do with it. The financial roll-up in which you actually roll up data cannot be done even if you custom build it in Apex. So there's some stuff that's configured which is well thought out and used many years of experience of companies such as where I used to work for on how to do the processes, and it's put into practice. I think that's a very strong statement. I remember looking at Financial Service Cloud for the first time myself and I said, woohoo, finally, there's an object called claims.
Yeah.
So there's lots of benefits to it as well.
Yeah.
And it's really a business case scenario. But in the end of the road, in my personal opinion, someday you need to move.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a nice little bridge to, I think, the story that you're going to share with us, Nicolai.
Yep.
Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for the controls. At NextView, we want to talk about design thinking and Salesforce, because we actually believe that we need to combine the two in order for us to be effective. Now, today, what we talk about is why do we use design thinking? How do we apply that design thinking? And what does it mean? And I'm going to give some concrete examples to do design thinking in Financial Services Cloud. So please do make it interactive. Do ask questions.
Yeah, so once again, audience, by all means, ask your questions to any of the panelists here. Yeah, we've got some more coming in, but go ahead for now. I'll get back to you in a minute.
Why design thinking? Well, we've all seen this, classical project management, and if you see me looking at that way, I'm looking at the slide, and I'm telling you that classical project management comes usually with requirements development, and it's, that's changed a lot over the years as well. But a lot of times we still see that an analyst has designed it, someone else actually wrote the programming for it, and then actually what the customer needed was something completely different. Using design thinking, we want to tackle this, or we do tackle this, because we start and end with the customer in mind, and we actually solve the problem what he really wants. Let me give you an example. An address change of someone. Normally, in traditional way of thinking, we would say, hey, that address change just, is a field I need to change. I need to pass it to the back office system, and then I'm done. If you use design thinking, and you go through the details, you figure out why the person wants an address change because he's moving house, and he doesn't really want to do an address change. He really wants to know, am I being well taken care of in your company if I change house? So basically, he's asking, can you help me do this change? That leads to all sorts of different solutions rather than just filling in a field, which is an example of what I've just shown on the slide. Now, how do we apply this? Well, there's lots of information on design thinking, but I think the one thing that is most important at NextView is that design thinking is a mindset. It doesn't mean that you add a service designer in a project. It's a mindset for all those involved in the project. We think holistic to solve the real problem at hand. We don't solve the issue, we solve the real problem. Now, it can be strategical, it can be very tactical. You can even have micromanagement on design thinking, just applied. And I started off one of the slides, and it said that you take every person at least makes 5 design decisions a day. And it sounds
Sounds like a lot. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's quite little.
Okay.
Every time you get dressed, you make a decision on what am I going to wear, what does it look like, how do I come across to others.
Yeah,
That's a decision.
Clearly.
But the most important reason why I'm telling you this is because everyone can do it, as long as it's a collective mindset and we share the same values. Now, we're doing this for quite a while, and we've got quite a commitment on doing this. We're not unique, as I said earlier, but we did start in 2016. And we didn't only start in 2016, we delivered our first design thinking center in Amsterdam in 2016. Since then, we've grown in our experience. We opened another design thinking center in Eindhoven, and we continue to grow that experience. And actually, we'll be opening one in early 2021 in Frankfurt, Germany.
Wow.
Well, we learned a great deal. We learned, we struggled, and we combined all those experiences in a company-wide way of working at NextView, which is a combination of design thinking, how we put it into practice in our centers. That is what makes us unique. Now let me give you an example. We always start with the customer first. We start with the customer, we end with the customer. So we start with a multidisciplinary team in which everyone holds their experience. And what do I mean? There's somebody involved from marketing that understands the branding story. There's somebody that understands how the technology works. There's somebody that understands how the operational processes work. There's somebody that understands how to talk to a customer.
A huge priority.
Exactly. This priority with each other, we draft a map. And this is an example of a life insurance product, and it's a life insurance that doesn't require advice, but we start off on the top line, writing down what the process and the engagement of the customers are. And what are our experiences? We try to map that as well. Just what does the customer see? What does the customer do? We map that below with the bottom line of what's coming into your company. Which process steps are coming in? Why are they coming in? And we then identify key improvement opportunities. This is where the design thinking really comes into space. Because in those key improvement opportunities, we understand the technology behind it, we understand the process behind it, because you are a multidisciplinary team. So all these stars that you're seeing on the slide are actually opportunities that can be used from a technology perspective or process perspective. Let me give you a real example. During one of these journeys, and this is the one on ORV, we actually discovered that one of the key elements for someone to ask a life insurance request is why he needs it. Do you need it to buy a house? Do you need it because you're becoming a father or a mother or whatever? There's lots of reasons why people want to have a life insurance. And that's a crucial differentiator in how the process should continue. Well, we found that out, and this is a little element that somebody just dropped during one of our sessions, that we said, well, we need to redesign the whole way this process is being done. And you think, well, what does it have to do with Salesforce? It has to do everything with Salesforce, because that little key element now has to be asked at the beginning of the process, not at the end, because that way we can manage the experience of the customer properly. What do I mean by managing experience? Well, you just make sure you get the right email, make sure you have the right process, you ask for the right documents, right interaction, and maybe sometimes he says, I don't want advice. Maybe it's better he does get some form of advice. Now, financial services cloud. Everyone might be thinking, well, that's great, you can do that everywhere, this design thinking with Salesforce. Well, that's true. But in financial services cloud, you can do a lot for financial institutions. There's so much stuff pre-configured for you that you can actually benefit from using that in designing your journeys. I'll give you an example of KYC. In Salesforce, there's action plans. You talked about action plans earlier. We talked about documents being shared earlier. Yeah? We talked about workflow being automated in it. And knowing this as a standard capability, I should say, of Salesforce Financial Services Cloud, you can actually redesign the whole KYC onboarding. Does that mean the whole KYC onboarding is then fully done in Salesforce? No, but at least you can do the front end of it. So we can, and I call it digitizing the front side of your business. You can start off with that. So you can do the basics of KYC using Financial Services Cloud.
And so what you're showing here is actually what's currently in Financial Services Cloud, correct?
Yes, that's actually well, it's a direct copy of one of the orgs that's at my disposal, in which I show a action plan.
It's not customized.
No, this is standard.
Yeah.
This is all standard.
No, but
it's a good question.
That's
That's a good add-on.
was also saying that there's a lot more innovation coming on the KYC process.
This is just
this is what you're seeing here.
This is what you can get today.
Yep. All right.
Good. Now I have another example, and I call it the basics of financial planning using Salesforce. You could also say, hey, we have goals in Salesforce, but I tend to think a bit bigger than that, because goals is something that somebody wants to achieve. The example that's given here is somebody, I think her name is Rachel Morris, if I look from a distance. I'm not wearing my glasses, and I don't have glasses. But Rachel Morris is a person who's got a student loan to pay for, but she also has a wedding to go for. And with goals, by registering them in Salesforce, we can add this information to the customer view. And why is that important? It's quite simple. If she asks for a loan, it's an additional loan that it's taken into consideration of all of her other financial expectations. Can she handle this? Can she do this? So I call it the basics of financial planning. And this is standard configurable stuff that's in the Financial Services Cloud.
Yeah.
So this is really neat stuff. And the really even neater part about it, in my opinion, is that you can actually use the household data model. You can connect it to these goals, and that's given also in this example right here, in which you see there's multiple people living in the household. How is that household doing? What is their debt? What is their equity? How are they doing? This is just going
Do
one
you
step
also
beyond.
mean that the design thinking is also, the value of design thinking is it's possible to slice, for instance, the transition to financial services, or how would you see that?
Yeah, good question.
Because it could be very huge, the transition from normal service cloud, for instance, to the financial service cloud, and then you want to use design.
Yes, the reason why I want to use design thinking is to unleash the capabilities that are not yet known with moving to Financial Services Cloud. You can use all the capabilities, but also redesign the customer engagements, or actually the whole experience of the customer. But not only for the customer, also your colleagues, because a lot of stuff they need to do manually now, they can automate as well.
Do you want to improve the design thinking, the why, or more the how, or is it a combination of that, or?
Well, what
you know what I mean?
Check with me. I'm going to go one slide, because
Okay.
How do we make it special? How do you make a transition to Financial Services Cloud special? Well, you have the multidisciplinary team that we need from customers. We add some people from us if needed. But you have to add the specific knowledge of the Financial Services Cloud people. So what I want to do, if we would do a migration, we go through a journey, we create a journey using the knowledge of the people involved, including the Financial Services Cloud consultants, to redesign the customer process. Then it's there where we get the value of migrating to Financial Services Cloud. And you also write down which systems you can eliminate, or processes you can eliminate, and efficiency you can create. So we use design thinking as a methodology to redesign the customer processes when you merge to Financial Services Cloud.
Get empowered your business case.
Yes. Because
Okay.
from it, in the end of the road, if we go back to one of the design, one of the journey maps, from it you have the efficiencies and you have the improvement points, and you can quickly make a benefits business case out of that.
So you start with the customer process
Always.
and go from there and map that onto the data model of Financial Services Cloud.
You do that in the service design
Yep.
sessions.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have any questions?
No, not yet.
Key takeaways. Financial Services Cloud migration is easier if you use design thinking as a methodology, but not you, the collective team. Migration is quicker if certified specialists are involved. They understand the capabilities, they understand the data model, they can help you map it quicker and identify the improvements. And the last one is the multidisciplinary team. Break down the silos and let's start adding value together. Those are the 3 things I wanted to cover today.
Right.
Perfect.
Any questions on the table?
Well, question on the table would be, what would be your approach? So if VVAA would knock on your door tomorrow to do this, what would it look like?
Well,
You've got a slide on that?
I've got a slide on this. Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
This is really scary.
Really, if you're interested in the Financial Services Cloud migration and you want to do an assessment, we're happy to do a half-day assessment. Come to us, and what we'll do, we'll let you experience how we plot design thinking in your organization. We will assess the value of migrating with you, and we will also draft some quick wins, and well, you know, you're going to have to do some sort of roadmap as well. So.
Yep. Yeah, so if you're interested in that, I believe that in your screen now a button will appear. So if you're interested in that, press on yes or on the button, and we'll be in touch for such a session. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Very good. All right, then we are coming towards the end of our program here. There are no further questions from the audience so far. So I'd like to say thanks to all of you. Thanks to the audience for a couple of questions. Very good. We do have a lot of other webinars as well. Here's just a quick overview of where you can find them. So if you want to look at some recorded webinars on all the different topics there, go to our YouTube channel. Even throughout the holiday season, we are keeping active. So our next experience workshop on digital engagement will be held on July 16. You can actually register on our website. And there's a whole lot more webinars coming, which you can see here in the slide. If you would like to be invited for all of our webinars, you can register as well, nextviewconsulting.com. Thank you so much. Any last thoughts from anyone?
No, perhaps I don't know exactly the audience, but if someone would like to have, for instance, more reference meeting, well, they can contact me for instance.
That's a great offer.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody out there who's would be interested. So feel free to reach out. I think to all of us. And on that note, I think let's wrap it up. Thank you very much. For the holiday season, stay safe and see you soon again in our next webinar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.